Jonathan, we're back here again to discuss Dow and DuPont. The deal we were discussing earlier this week as a hypothetical is now a fact. Have we gotten what we expected a few days ago?
We have indeed, more or less. I got the name wrong. I thought they might call the merged company DowPont. Instead, it's going to be DowDuPont.
Yes.
Barring that,
but it's not going to be that for very long.
It's not going to be that for very long because the plan is exactly as was reported a few days ago. They're going to mash together these two giant chemicals conglomerates, and then they're going to spend 2 years breaking them up into 3 separate companies, which will be spun off. Spinning off affords the split a very favourable tax treatment. So from that point of view, it is all as reported. Thank heavens it is a merger of equals. There isn't going to be a huge amount of cash.
That's one of the things we were worried about, was that cash was going to change hands here and we were going to get added debt on these companies, which we thought was something to be avoided.
Yeah. So we're getting a merger of equals, but therein lies a bit of a puzzle. In terms of market capitalisation, the companies are pretty much almost exactly the same size. But when you look at the revenues and profits, Dow is much larger than DuPont.
Yes,
so if I were a Dow
40% higher, right?
I'm thinking, well, kind of how come I'm not getting more of this company? And the only, the merged company, and the only real explanation I can find for that is that perhaps DuPont was growing a little bit faster than Dow in the years leading up. And also because there's probably a bit more sort of cost synergy, a bit more fat to cut at DuPont, which famously owned a country club and a hotel in Delaware as part of its estate.
Well, let me push you on this issue a little bit. So I'm reading here from a letter from the former CEO, recently departed CEO of DuPont, who was rejecting a plan to break up the company offered by Nelson Peltz and Treon. She said, among other things, that breaking up the company would eliminate revenue and margin drivers across businesses, including global reach, customer relationships, brand awareness, market position, cross-selling opportunities, and so on, all of which sounds like DuPont saying, keep us a great big company because scale matters in our industry. Have they now changed their mind on this crucial point?
Well, I think the crucial point is that they've changed their CEO.
Right.
Treon tried to get 2 directors onto the board of DuPont and failed. But then they they won a victory a few months later when Ellen Kullman, who made those remarks, retired, and she was replaced by Ed Breen, who has past form as a breakup specialist. So I think that's the one thing that's changed. I think perhaps the other thing, I mean, that's a remarkable sentence containing possibly every management cliche known to man. But the one thing I think to point out is that if you put similar divisions together,
yes,
you probably do preserve the cost synergies. So the 2 companies' agricultural science divisions are going together,
yes,
and that probably makes sense.
So you are still going to be able to preserve some of the benefits of scale.
Yeah. And the same goes for the sort of petrochemical division, which is a lot of that is coming from Dow Chemical, but with bits coming from DuPont as well. I think the 3rd division is kind of like the leftovers division, things like
the specialty chemical
electronic
division.
Materials, nutrition, safety and protection, things like that.
It's a bit of a grab bag.
That is a bit of a grab bag. I think you'll find there are fewer synergies coming from that bit.
Jonathan, thanks very much.